you can speak at. And my next speaker, Jessica Jordan, is here to talk about just that. So Jessica Jordan is a senior front-end developer at Honeypot.io. She spends a lot of her spare time supporting the development of Ember.js. She's a member of the Learning Core team. She also writes for the Ember Times and she organizes Emberliners. Speaking to us from Berlin, Germany, it's Jessica Jordan. Hi, Jessica.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for giving up your time. Go for it.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you so much. Hi, I'm Jessica, and I want to explore together with you the world of opportunities that open up to us with public speaking. If we get engaged in public speaking, we experience that there's a lot of professional growth we can gain from putting ourselves and our ideas out there. And at first, the topic of public speaking can seem a bit uncomfortable or even intimidating. I mean, who really wants to put themselves out there and just be there vulnerable for the judgment by a group of strangers just for the sake of it? But what we might forget and must not forget, the benefits we gain from public speaking are immense. And I hope this talk will help you to get a clearer picture of the potential for your career and your self-development once you speak at your first conference. To make a case for this, I actually want to share some of my own personal experiences, and especially how it was for me to speak for the very first time 4 years ago at EmberConf. In 2017, I presented a talk about web animations for the very first time at a conference in front of 1,000 people. And yes, it was legitimately terrifying. But many lovely people, very kind and very supportive, actually encouraged me to get on stage and get this conference talk out there. But really, to be honest with you, when I spoke there for the very first time, I could have never imagined how many doors this one single event would open for me further down the road. And when I went on stage for the first time and spoke into my microphone, these first, still quite jittery words of my presentation, it would have never crossed my mind that all this work, all the stress, the anxiety, the discomfort, the sense of uncertainty would in the end be really worth it. And since that very first conference talk, I actually have continued to go on this journey. I have spoken at over 20 conferences, many meetups, a lot of online events. And throughout all of this, I actually realized that public speaking has truly benefited me on many different levels, professional, personal, also on a relational level. And these are some of the really amazing opportunities that I have found came along with public speaking. First of all, public speaking enables us to meet other developers, designers, engineering managers, entrepreneurs, conference organizers, all kinds of professionals from different trades in our industry. And being part of conferences also lets us connect with friends, which we might know from mostly online open source communities, finally in real life. If we want to strengthen our relationships in business, open source and beyond, public speaking is a true gift. And we can meet all these people we might otherwise never had a chance to meet in real life, just in the context of these events. If we can be a true part of our community, we also discover new learning and collaboration opportunities in it. When it comes to collaboration, you can think of open source projects, or you might also think about meeting your mentor or a coach at the next event. But also very importantly, the next job offer, a new project, a new business venture might be just around the corner and might be brought up to us by someone in the audience, someone who listened to our talk, got interested in the topic we have been presenting, and therefore also got interested in working together with us. And in my own personal experience, I found that public speaking has truly been a blessing in uncovering these exciting new collaboration opportunities. And I can, looking back on the last couple of years in my own career, see that a lot of the position and roles that I have engaged in would have never been possible if it hasn't been for the experience of public speaking and actually giving presentation at conferences. And also, if you're starting a business, public speaking can also be a very deciding factor for your idea to get across the right pair of eyes, which could then in the end lead to clients, investment, or other business partnerships. But what else is there to public speaking? What else could you benefit from? Something that has been very surprising to me, at least, has been the fact that just like in the last 4 years alone, when I started public speaking, I have visited many, many more places in the entire world that I've ever traveled before. And being able to actually have these amazing experiences, explore new locations and also other tech communities has, in my opinion, been a true gift. And if there's another very important point, something that I found very inspiring, uplifting, and also beneficial in public speaking, it would have been the experience that once we actually start speaking publicly, we hone a lot of personal skills. We're seeing an improvement in conveying our thoughts and ideas to others more clearly. We actually realize there's an intrinsic value in sharing our learnings with other like-minded folks, and that there's a lot of personal growth coming from the very practice of public speaking. We develop our leadership skills, we hone our ability to portray abstract concepts, and we also find our own voice. And with having our own voice, we are also able to drive change. To me, there's also been the realization that there isn't necessarily, and probably never has been, a requirement for anyone to be a talented public speaker from the get-go. That being good at public speaking is less about having a natural trait that you're just born with, but rather that public speaking is a skill to be learned, an intellectual muscle to be strengthened. And this is not only my own personal experience, this is also something that I see if I'm talking to many, many other public speakers. In the conferences that I've attended, I've spoken to many people who are highly experienced, well-seasoned, real experts in the field. And sometimes I'd ask them, so after these 20, 50, 100 conferences that you've spoken at, do you still get nervous before you go on stage? Do you still sometimes doubt if you should be doing this? Asking this question from this place of feeling doubtful and anxious myself. And guess what their answer was? Yes, I do. I still do get scared. I'm still nervous before going on stage, and it continues to be nerve-wracking after all these years, even though it does get better. But still this doubt, this feeling of anxiety is still there. And this is something that rings very true to me, that doubt is normal, anxiety is normal. It's really part of the process. And also continuous learning is normal and part of the process in public speaking. And so if you are having these feelings, feel encouraged that you're already on a great track to be a public speaker yourself and actually access a world full of new opportunities. And only if you're curious, if you really want to try to see this world of opportunities for yourself, you can try and actually create and submit a proposal at your favorite conference. And to get started, here are just a few tips from myself on how you can do this. First of all, if you've never spoken at a conference before, I encourage you to start small. Is there a meetup in your town that interests you and that offers opportunities for members to present something? Then write the organizer an email, try to get something out there. And from the feedback that you get from the presentation, you might already have a much better idea how to reshape the proposal or maybe create an entire new talk for a conference submission. Also, set yourself a goal. It's so much easier to get started if you really have something to look forward to. Papercall.io is, for example, a website you can use to check out upcoming CFPs, but you might also want to just look in a lot of different places for call for proposals. What about following your favorite conferences on Twitter and see what they're tweeting about is coming up in regards to CFPs? What about being part of online, offline, open source communities and reaching out to your network to get up to date what is happening in regards to conferences? If you see an interest in conference talk, maybe check out the website and see if they have an open CFP right now and you can apply too. And also important to keep in mind, once you got the foot in the door and you actually got your first conference out there and the video's up, a lot of other conference organizers will actually approach you and ask you, do you want to speak at the conference as well? So this can also be encouraging for you to see that. It will get easier over time to actually get your proposal out there once you have got over the first bump. And support is also a very important point. If you have any friends, any colleagues or co-workers who would be interested in helping you to brainstorm ideas, help you with crafting a proposal and really polishing things up, this can be very motivating. And these can also be the people listening to your talk and cheering you on in any of these instances where you might feel doubtful. It makes it so much easier to keep going. And last but not least, if from all of these 4 tips, you kind of like feel like, oh, I can only kind of like keep one of them in my mind, I will just like forget all of them. Feel free to just like forget the last 3 that I just talked about. Just keep this one single one in mind, which would be kind to yourself. This is probably the most important one. If you go into this process, please remind yourself, we all need to start somewhere and we all only learn as part of the process. So it's totally okay to be doubtful, imperfect, make mistakes along the way. That's all part of the process too. Do expect problems to come up, and as they come up, feel free to just like accept them for what they are, as something that everyone has to go through on their public speaking journey. And therefore, if you stumble upon these problems, you're already aware of them, and feel free to, anytime you're not making as much progress as you would have imagined, or anytime proposals get rejected from conferences, to still give yourself permission and the right to be kind to yourself and take advantage of meeting yourself with compassion to set up yourself for success in the future of your journey. You will definitely need it. And with this, I hope you have a much better idea what kind of like world of opportunities lies ahead of you once you go on this public speaking journey. And that as long as you start and continue on this path, this entire new world of opportunities is open to you too. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Jessica. I love that last message. And you're right. If you remember nothing else, remember to be kind to yourself, because a lot of the barriers that we put in between us and the stage are kind of barriers that are in our minds, aren't they? And I'm not good enough. I don't know enough. Nobody wants to hear what I've got to say. If we're more kind to ourselves, we could break down some of those barriers. So I think it's definitely worth remembering that. So we did have some questions, but you are so skilled that you answered them during your talk. So like one of them was, do you recommend starting small? And then immediately you said, right, I think you should start small. So okay. You are a true pro. You read the audience's mind. You definitely knew your audience there. So I don't have any questions for you apart from the quick fire ones that I'm asking everybody. So just the first thing that comes into your head, favorite conference you've spoken at?
I would also definitely say my first conference at EmberConf has just been an amazing experience to be met with so much support and encouragement as I got kind of like started for my first conference talk. Yeah.
Cool. And your favorite talk that you've given?
I would probably say like last year I gave a talk about open source and how businesses can kind of like support open source and vice versa. And I found it like very interesting to be a little bit more on this business side of things and have a perspective on how can you actually view technology and open source in this kind of like context. So I found this really interesting as a topic itself. Yeah.
Definitely. And it's something that anyone can get involved in. That's the beauty of it, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Conference you'd love to speak at?
I'd really love to speak one day at Nordic.js. I think it's like a really cool conference from what I've seen so far from the program. So really looking forward to maybe one day.
And a talk you really loved?
I think there are a lot of like great talks out there. So it's like very hard to pick like just like one. But I'd probably say Tatiana Mack's System of Systems is really a great talk. And I think, yeah, probably everyone working in tech or design should actually watch it. Yeah.
Definitely. I saw that for the first time. I don't even know what year it is now. I think late last year. And if somebody was going to ask me that question, I would say that definitely worth checking that out. So thanks once again, Jessica. I do want to mention that at this point that Jessica stepped up very short notice because we had a very unavoidable and unexpected situation meant that there was a gap in the schedule, which was totally nobody's fault at all. And I reached out to Jessica and she put together a totally brand new talk just for you with hardly any time. So once again, Jessica, you are a true pro, and it's been a pleasure to work with you. Thank you so much for giving up your time today.
Yeah, thank you for having me and kind of like making everything happen in the first place. So.
No worries, it's my pleasure. So Jessica will be in Veto to chat to if you want to chat afterwards. And again, feel free to reach out to Jessica or any of us on Twitter afterwards. But like I said, bear in mind the volume of replies may be high. So your call is important to us. You may be in a queue. So thanks once again, Jessica. I will speak to you later.
Thank you. See you later.
Bye.